Hey there, you are listening to The Elm Tree and the Willow, a short story by Enid Blyton, narrated by Kenneth De Silva. Side by side in the hedge grew a great elm and a sapling willow. The willow was growing in the shade of the elm, and it did not get enough light or sunshine. But it did the best it could. It sent its thin roots down into the earth to look for water, and it put out long shoots to try to reach the sunshine. The big elm scorned the small willow. It raised its head very high in the air. It grew thousands of small leaves, and in the wind it made such a rushing noise that it drowned the voice of the little willow. The willow sometimes spoke timidly to the tall elm. It asked the great tree questions about the birds that nested every year in the bushy trunk of the elm. It admired the pretty red blossoms that grew on the big tree's twigs in the early spring, and which it flung down to the ground when the wind blew. "Ah, you should grow blossoms like mine," said the elm. "Look at your silly little green catkins. And see, when the autumn comes, I send thousands of winged fruit spinning through the air for the children to catch. They love me. I am tall and grand, my leaves shout in the wind, I give welcome shade in the hot summer, but you are a miserable little thing." "Well, I can't grow very big because you take so much light and sunshine from me," said the willow, humbly. "But, great elm tree, I believe my roots go further down than yours do." "Pooh! What do roots matter?" said the elm tree impatiently. "They don't show, do they?" Now, that autumn there came a great gale one dark stormy night. The wind rushed through the trees, and the elm shouted so loudly that the willow was nearly deafened. The great tree swayed to and fro, and the willow bent too. The wind grew wilder and wilder, and the elm shouted more and more loudly. And then, suddenly, a terrifying thing happened. The great elm bent so far over that it could not get its trunk back straight again. Its poor weak roots could not hold it, and they broke. The tree gave a loud moaning cry and toppled heavily to the ground. The willow was left alone to bear the strong gusts of wind. It was frightened. If the elm had fallen, surely it too would fall, for it was but a small tree. The wind pulled hard at it, but the willow's roots were deep and held it well. When the storm at last died down, the willow was still standing, and by it lay the great elm, its leaves dying by the thousand. The wind came by once more and whispered to the willow, "Roots don't show, but they matter most of all. Roots don't show, but they matter most of all."